Student learning outcomes are actually the roadmap for the courses. They're really just sort of foundational blocks for me.
What I want the student should be able to do upon completion of the course is what the learning is about, is where the value is about. So the content is no longer a competitive advantage in the market. It's the ability to realize the power and the strength of the content. That's what is learning. So the learning outcome is more focused on that. So there is a famous quote comes to my mind by William Bates. So education is not about filling up the basket, it's about lighting the fire. The students, can they light the fire, not just collecting the wood?
I like to think about what is it that we want our students to be able to do once they're in their professional work in the real world.
I don't think that directly they help, because I don't think the students pick up on them, but I think if you frame your class in a way where you give the students, here's where we're going to go and here's where we've been, it provides them with the cues to be able to pick up on what's critical for the class.
So I think having the learning outcomes brings us all together on the same page.
I think student learning outcomes are a roadmap, and they're an important roadmap because they are the link between the institutional learning outcomes and the program learning outcomes, and also because I'm in a professional social work program. We have the Council on Social Work Education, which specifies core competencies that we need to teach. So student learning outcomes are really a close definition of what exactly we want to teach in order to meet all of these different levels of outcome requirements. They're a roadmap because if we don't delineate these very clearly and very specifically to what we want to achieve, then we won't be able to design the courses very well.
I think again comes back to the learning outcomes in my view. So the learning outcome is a very interesting collaborative activity. It's not like one person doing it in a department, maybe group of faculty brainstorm. You look at what we would like to accomplish in a program when a student goes through the program, and then aligning to that program what we would like to achieve, what individual course should contribute towards. And once you define that, that's what the learning outcomes are going to be.
I try to make sure the assessment has some sort of meaning to the students, and I try to make sure the assessments do provide me with a reasonable way of determining that they're actually meeting the learning outcomes.
Determining what a key assignment would be, I deal with the objective is, and I first see how it's going to be assessed at the end. And then I make sure that the learning activities are designed so that the students can accomplish the assessment. And if the assessment is properly keyed to the objective, then everything should flow smoothly. And then I want students to have enough practice time. So once I establish the learning activities, like what I'm going to be doing or how I'm going to be doing it, and then what the assessment's going to look like, then I fill in what the substantive content would be. Or if it's a knowledge-based kind of objective, I'll know that ahead of time.
I think you can be effective whether it's even a multiple choice exam, whether it's an essay, whether it's a group project, or whether it's a individual written assignment. But it has to be, in my mind, tied to the learning outcomes.
If there's no objectives, it seems to me that it becomes more hierarchical. Like, I'm the professor and I'm just going to lead you through this experience that's confusing because you have no sense of where we're heading, right? I think by using the objectives to roadmap the class, we're all working on it together. And then they can see I respect their time and they're going to respect my time, and I'm not going to ask them to do anything that isn't linked to something that's important.
I think student outcomes are very important for helping them to succeed, because sometimes we can have a syllabus where the student learning outcomes aren't well designed, they're a little bit nebulous, and the students pay no attention to them. But once they are well designed and they're linked to the assignments, our students who are very hardworking, they're very motivated, they pay attention, they see this as one package, they know what the expectations of them are, and they also know that what we've designed, if it's well designed, is important for their future professional work in the field. So the student learning outcomes really tied together a syllabus, and it took me a while to understand that, how important these were in fact, and only after teaching 5-6 years do I see that a well-designed syllabus has very well articulated and linked student learning outcomes.
What would it take to actually ask someone to say, okay, you've got these 6 learning outcomes, okay, which assessment taps which outcome? And just align those as a simple little matrix or table. But I don't think we do that. But I think it, again, would be a very valuable exercise to go through to determine whether or not faculty actually are doing what they think they're doing. They'll probably shoot me for this one, but that's... Treat me nicely. Happy to debate it. Yeah.